We all here. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Community and Health Services Committee for June the 10th, 2025. We have a delegation that we're going to be hearing from today, as well as a report from the Immigration Strategy and Immigration Partnership. To begin, I'd like to call on Julie Hale, our committee clerk, to conduct a roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Regional Chair Redmond.
Present.
Councillor Craig.
Present.
Chair Erb.
Present.
Councillor Foxton.
Present.
I believe Councillor Harris is joining online. Councillor Hunick.
Present.
Councillor James. Councillor Liggett. Councillor McCabe. Councillor Nowak. Councillor Rodriguez.
Present.
I believe regrets from Councillor Salonen. Councillor Shantz.
Present.
Councillor Urbanovich. And Councillor Wolf. Thank you.
As we begin this meeting, we are again reminded that many of our homes and places of employment in Waterloo region are situated on the land that is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Shantaan Common peoples. We recognize and deeply appreciate the historic connection to Waterloo region, and we also recognize and deeply appreciate the contributions Indigenous peoples have made in shaping and strengthening this community. We are grateful for the opportunity to live and work here and reaffirm our collective commitment to keep the promise that reconciliation takes place through learning and community building with the Indigenous people who continue to live here. We are all treaty people with the responsibility to honor all of our relations. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? There are none. We have no presentations. We have one delegation registered. And before we hear from our delegation, I'd like to remind of some guidelines. As you are joining us in person, please proceed to the podium when you are called upon to speak. Some additional reminders. If you conduct yourself in any of the following manners, it will result in an immediate removal from the meeting: interrupting councillors, staff, or other delegations, derogatory statements about councillors, staff, or others, and hate speech or defamatory comments. And one last reminder, please don't take any offense if following your presentation there are no questions from council. This is council's time to really listen and reflect upon the opinions and ideas shared with us from our community members. And a reminder to our audience members, you're asked to maintain order, and this means that you're not to address the committee without the permission of the chair, interrupt anyone, disrupt the meeting with unreasonable noise or vocal expression such as applause, booing, or cheering, and displaying of signs or posters. Rhonda Lee, who has registered as a delegation, I'd like to invite you to come to the podium. Welcome, and you have 5 minutes, Rhonda.
I'm here today to talk about two zero-tolerance policies that are not being taken seriously by Region of Waterloo relative to Waterloo Region housing policy and bylaws that have led to violation of human rights. 1, smoke-free bylaw. Its inconsistency and lack of enforcement. 2, tolerance for harassment, intimidation, verbal abuse, inappropriate language, and attacks from smokers claiming non-existent smoking rights in regional housing due to lack of enforcement. I have worked for a decade in public health advocating for smoke-free living spaces, workplaces, public and business places. So it was my understanding that I would be living in a 100% smoke-free senior building, advertised and purposely chosen as such, located at 1115 Henry Street in Wellesley, and stated in all the tenants' lease agreements and tenant handbook.
Excuse me, Rhonda, I'm just wondering if you could maybe slow down.
I'll use up my 5 minutes. I have to go quickly.
I'm sorry?
I'll use up my 5 minutes. I'll have to go quickly. I've timed this.
We'll try and be a little bit lenient maybe
Okay.
at the end of the 5 minutes. So.
No problem, then. I'll slow down. This per the policy enacted April 2010, making all new leases signed with Waterloo Regional Housing 100% smoke-free, and to include all living spaces in the lease, inclusive of patios and balconies. It's stated 5 or more meters, but the current smoke-free Ontario 2017 Act policy is 9 meters or more. This was never updated, and so goes against municipal and provincial bylaws that state public areas must be within 9 meters from the perimeter, 20 meters from a playground, daycare, or rec facility, and public areas, and include outdoor grounds of a school within 20 meters of perimeter. It also clearly states 9 meters for residential care facilities, including long-term care homes and publicly funded supportive housing, such as for seniors. Signs for smoking distances range from 5 meters to 20 meters, as if one location has more smoke-free rights than others. An example of this inconsistency is Waterloo Regional Police Association building signage that states 15 meters, but Waterloo Region Housing Seniors Residences at Henry Street and 239 Franklin Street post signs saying no smoking within only 5 meters. Are some people's health more valued than others? Even so, these are being disregarded and no enforcement occurring. Bylaw 13-050 Code of Use Conduct states fines of up to $5,000, and Part 4 general states may be enforced by designated person or police officer for smoking tobacco or holding lit tobacco. Part 3 also addresses issuing a no trespass. But in the Henry Street situation involving an assault by a non-tenant smoker, it took 7 months to issue, even though outlined in Part 2 of smoke-free operating procedures. The responsibility to ensure compliance with the policy and operating principles is outlined in the document, Smoke-Free Procedure for Waterloo Regional Housing and Region of Waterloo Community Houses Inc. staff, which was ignored by 3 TAC property managers, thus encouraging the behaviors to continue to the point of bullying, verbal abuse, harassment, group intimidation, threatening attacks, and assault. Here's one example from spring of 2024 with a male tenant stopping directly in front of my patio, smoking a cigarette, and saying this.
Normally, we would not allow a video to be shown unless we had permission, not knowing what the contents of it might be.
What's that? So he says, get a life, you fucking stupid cunt. So in spite of having these operating principles, Waterloo Regional Housing said to call police. Police said it was a housing issue. Both said to collect evidence and document, yet both did nothing for over a year, escalating with more new, unskilled, untrained TACs, encouraging abuse as common ground rights for smoking among tenants and non-tenants to use as they see fit. They let it go by for so long, offenders were blatantly loitering and smoking at the seating area in front of the dumpster in the parking lot that is part of the building facility, making themselves and their addiction visible to families with children, kids, and daycare children that walk past, including engaging teen males in harassment behaviors, name-calling, and rude gestures. Part of Smoke Free Ontario Act 2017 is to discourage young people from starting to smoke, yet smoking was allowed immediately next to a church, daycare, play area, and a budding property of an early years center, also within 1 block of an elementary school and playground, because it was not upgraded nor enforced. The solution WRH offered was to build a smoking shrine or gazebo like the unused one at 239 Franklin. I had to call the MOH Office for Community Health to inform them that this was in contradiction to their smoke-free goal, unless they also wanted to make it inclusive as a safe injection site for other addictions next door to a child daycare. How can you discourage smoking in youth if people are smoking within a few feet of a church, daycare, play area, and early years center, luring teen males to bad behavior, name-calling, rude finger gestures, rolling cigarettes, and loitering with them? Upper Housing Management did not support or give appropriate evidence to police, even though they knew about this in writing since November of 2023, and there was provisions to issue fines or to have police enforce, but they avoided. How is it fair to other tenants who signed up for a designated non-smoking building following the terms of their lease agreements to expect this to continue to affect their reasonable enjoyment of a smoke-free home? Other than a handful of limp-wristed letters sent out February to December of 2024, vaguely suggesting there may be legal action if smoking violations continue, there was no strict enforcement as per the smoke-free procedure operating principles outlined for over a year. This should have occurred after the third complaint.
Rhonda, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're past your 5 minutes by almost 45 seconds. So I'm wondering
Well,
if you could...
I asked. It's not much more. I'll go quickly then.
Thank you.
Okay. That's what I mentioned. I timed it. Supportive policies and procedures exist. There's just a lack of political will to follow through, implement, and enforce. Purpose here is to ask that no smoking policy with timely enforcement be within 20 meters of a senior's designated non-smoking building with fines and imposed restrictions, or to remove offenders as per the operating principles so as to match the current Smoke-Free Act and that of places like WRPA with signage stating 15 meters, child daycare is 20 meters, but where seniors only get 5 meters, as in the case of Henry Street, next to schools and daycares that have lured teen boys to be negatively influenced into harassment by proximity behaviors. Smoke-Free Act also prohibits an employer from retaliating against an employee because the employee has acted in accordance with the Act. I assume this also applies to Region as landlord retaliating against a tenant acting in accordance with the Act, as was the case with the past ex-TAC tampering with lease agreements, giving a resident non-existent smoking exemptions, claims to discredit me and my credibility through gaslighting with professional gossip, and basically traumatizing me. And I have letters from my family physician July and October imploring housing to act appropriately regarding the situation. This gaslighting theme was perpetuated among the many calls made for support and assistance when there was continued harassment by creating a false majority narrative versus the lone voice of a solo senior female being targeted. Waterloo Regional Housing Managers also kept crucial evidence from police and didn't use them as they could have under bylaw 31-050 or to advocate. I have offered several solutions, but they have dragged their heels with go nowhere for show meetings that I have had to endure the ongoing trauma of repeated abusive harassment over 2 years. And with my family physician imploring there be appropriate interventions as affecting my health and well-being.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you want to remain there, there are a couple of councillors. Councillor Foxton.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I'm sorry that you've had to go through this. And I would ask that staff look at the bylaw again and please refresh councilors on the limitations of the bylaw, and we can revisit it at some point. Thank you.
Councillor James.
Thank you through you, Chair. I just want to thank you for coming in and speaking. I get quite a few emails regarding the concerns around smoking in buildings and ignoring of our bylaw. I will say that. I also had a similar request like Councillor Foxton to just have council updated on the smoking bylaw. I have asked staff in the past regarding some of the things that have been legacied in around no smoking in our buildings, and I believe part of the challenge is provincial legislation in order to make all of our buildings non-smoking. New ones, yes, but some of the older ones, there's a provincial barrier there that I'm aware of, and I don't know if Julie could speak to it, or as Commissioner Sweener is not here, you can follow up with council after.
There is a representative of bylaw and Waterloo Regional Housing in the audience today, so perhaps they could connect with you at the end.
May I say something? This policy was enacted in April of 2010. It already says 100% smoke-free. Problem is with enforcement and lack of signage that people can enforce within.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully, do you want to respond at all to this, Mr. Peterson, or meet offline perhaps with the delegate? Okay, he's committed to meeting offline with you, if that's okay.
Now?
Well, he's right. You can probably set up an appointment, right? The gentleman right behind you. Okay?
Do you want to turn this off?
Yes, you can turn that off. Thank you for attending. Number 6, our consent agenda. Nothing on the consent agenda. Moving on to the regular agenda, item 7.1, equitable services and opportunities. We have a presentation from the Immigration Strategy and Immigration Partnership. Tara Bedard, the Executive Director, and Dr. Ernest Osei are here. You're presenting, Tara? Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Erb, Chair Redmond, and Regional Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. As Chair Erb mentioned, my name is Tara Bedard, and I'm the Executive Director with the Waterloo Region Immigration Partnership, which is a community and economic development initiative hosted by the Region of Waterloo since 2009. Private, public, and nonprofit leaders direct this work in the community through the Immigration Partnership Council. Some of them are here today with me to present the new immigration strategy that we have set out for Waterloo Region. Joining me are Dr. Ernest Osei, who is the current chair of the Immigration Partnership Council and a doctor with the Grand River Cancer Center, Tracy Hare, who is the past chair of the Immigration Partnership Council, and with the Coaching Co., a private company. We also have joining us some of the other community leaders involved, Catherine Peterson, who is a leader with the YMCA of Three Rivers Immigrant Services, and Dowd Raji, who is a leader with the House of Friendship in Waterloo region. I would now like to hand it over to Dr. Osei, who will speak to you some more about this work that we've been doing in the community.
Thank you for the opportunity to present our new immigration strategy. Thank you also for the Region of Waterloo's ongoing partnership and investment in the Immigration Partnership. I also thank my Immigration Partnership Council colleagues for joining me here today. Canada selects immigrants from around the world to contribute to its economic success. This is because immigrants build communities in many ways. They fill the labor force, create businesses, contribute to innovation and philanthropy, and more. Waterloo region is one of Canada's fastest growing communities and has the fastest rate of immigration. The regional immigrant population now is bigger than the city of Cambridge. For 20 years, this region has recognized the importance of immigration and has built intentional, collaborative approaches to support it. In 2009, Immigration Canada has provided funding to the region of Waterloo for the Waterloo Region Immigration Partnership. Today, many of our partners are implementing our shared strategy for ensuring Waterloo Region is an inclusive community where immigrants thrive around our three pillars: the settle, the work, and belong. The Immigration Partnership is and has been a catalyst for change. Mentioning only four of them: one, using the regional pandemic processes, we have built strong coordination capacity through 3 large-scale refugee arrival events in the last 10 years. 2, we have created a top national community-based immigration research program, providing strong local knowledge on immigration. 3, we have translated our knowledge into action. For example, the Workplace Immigrant Network was launched through our research, planning, and seed funding, with success in helping immigrants bridge into employment. And 4, but not the least, public events and spaces are now more inclusive, and we have helped secure investment in regional programs and services supporting immigrants. The ongoing work of the Immigration Partnership is crucial in creating the condition for immigrants to thrive and contribute to this region's success. Next slide, please. On behalf of the Immigration Partnership Council, I am very pleased to present the Regional Council with the 2025 Waterloo Region Immigration Strategy. This strategy, which is our 6th, reflects our ongoing regional commitment to both immigrants and our regional community, and our more than 70 partner organizations remain ready to support immigration in the region to help safeguard the region's future resilience. This strategic plan is grounded in the expertise of almost 1,700 immigrants, partner organizations, and the wider community. This community-owned strategy aligns very well with the Region of Waterloo strategic plan for growing with care, and also connects strongly with the 2025 Waterloo Region Economic Development Strategy and the Talent Attraction, Retention, and Reskilling Plan. Through this strategic plan, we will build capacity across the region so that local services can meet the needs of the changing population, and employers will have the tools and resources to leverage the skills of immigrants, and so our region community will increasingly continue to be welcoming. Next slide, please. To do this, our 4 strategic priorities will guide our shared work. The first is to gather insights and evidence to develop our shared understanding of immigration and its ecosystem and build support for immigration. The second is to mobilize partners and community leadership to improve access to information and support for partners and immigrants, and to make changes addressing the primary needs of immigrants and improve integration. The third is to influence decision makers. We will work to influence the public, private, nonprofit decision makers to make changes and investment that improve immigrant settlement, work, and belonging, and guide employers to actively improve immigrant employment. Then fourth, but not the least, is to build organizational resilience by engaging community partners and staff with appropriate skills and influence, and ensuring that immigration partnership funding, governance, and structures optimize performance. Thank you very much. I will now hand over to my Immigration Partnership Council colleague, Tracy.
Thanks, Ernest, and hello, everyone. The Immigration Partnership is ready to continue our work with all of you for the benefit of our cities and our townships. Our council and steering groups, comprised of over 100 diverse individuals and 70 unique organizations, are establishing annual plans to execute on the strategic priorities Ernest has just referenced. If endorsed by Regional Council today, we'll present this strategy to all area councils, if you'll have us, in the coming months. And now to the elephant, perhaps, that's in the room. You may well be aware that the partnership is operating currently with reduced federal funding. This affects us significantly this year and over the next 2 years. To proactively address this shortfall, the IP Council has struck a funding subcommittee with a focus on securing necessary and sustainable funding. The funding subcommittee is actively exploring partnerships and funding from sources including the philanthropic, private, and public sectors. In the interim, we've diligently combed our budgets and cut as needed to operate for this year, but suffice to say, we have a significant gap to maintain ourselves and our programming over the next 3 years. As you know, almost 98% of Canadian population and labor force growth comes from immigration. Though the federal government recently put the brakes on, last year Waterloo Region welcomed a record number of immigrants. We all, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and our townships, benefit when immigrants work, settle, and belong successfully. This is the foundation of the work of the Immigration Partnership. Immigration, which remains a core element of Canada's economic policy, is good when we have sound policy and systems in place to support it. Prime Minister Carney's mandate letter to the new federal government reflects this through its focus on talent, attraction, and sustainable immigrant levels and immigration levels. We're extremely well positioned regionally to respond through the Immigration Partnership with its solid cross-sector partnership and deep roots in business, quite unique to many of our immigration partnerships across Canada, in fact. And finally, supporting immigration is a regional business and a social and economic imperative.
I will end by echoing what my colleague just said, that supporting immigration is a regional and economic imperative. The best way for us to do this is to work together. Through the Immigration Partnership, hundreds of people across businesses, post-secondary, community service, the public sector, faith and cultural organizations have built the foundation, relationship, focus, and action we need to be successful as we grow to 1 million people. We are grateful to the region of Waterloo, Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada, and the United Way Waterloo Region communities for their financial investment in this work for the last 15 years. We appreciate the region's efforts to reverse the IRCC's funding decision at the end of last year. We would also like to recognize and appreciate the many regional businesses and community organizations that have contributed millions of dollars in time, expertise, and other resources to this work for more than 15 years. We at the Immigration Partnership Council are doing our part to sustain this critical program at a time when it is most needed. We are here today with a recommendation that Regional Council endorse the new Waterloo Region immigration strategy, and that this council commits to bring leaders in supporting the economic and social success of immigrants and advocating for successive policy and investment. Thank you very much, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. I do have a question. Councillor Huna.
Thank you, Chair Erb, and thank you for your presentation today. Very enlightening, and I'm very thankful for the work that you do. You mentioned a reduction in federal funding, which is very sad, and I'm sorry about that. Have you applied at all for any provincial sources of funding? Are there even any that you would qualify for? And I'm looking to Chair Redmond sitting beside me, wondering if this is something that we could bring to AMO1 in August.
Through the chair, we are currently in the process of exploring every and all possible funding opportunities to sustain this work. In the past, historically, there was some provincial funding that supported the work that we do with the Immigration Partnership that was channeled through the KW Chamber of Commerce. That funding was pulled back by the province in 21-22 because there's a real focus with provincial funding on direct service work, which is very different from the type of work that we do as an immigration partnership. But absolutely, we're exploring that. We don't have any specific opportunities that we have identified yet that we feel would be a good fit for this work. But any opportunity to raise this with supportive colleagues would be welcome.
Chair Redmond.
If I can, Chair Erb, just to answer Councillor Hunick's question, when we found out there was a cut in federal funding, we joined partnership with the Immigration Partnership, reached out to our local MPs, and sent letters of support to the federal government. Sadly, to no avail. We will continue to partner with Immigration Partnership. They do very essential work. We keep reminding other levels of government that we're one of the fastest growing communities in the province, almost, I would say, across the country. So we continue to trying to find ways to get additional funding.
Councillor James.
Thank you, through you, Chair. And thanks for this report, and congratulations on the strategy. I just have a question. I'm also concerned about some of the funding and the ongoing partners and the list of partners. And without getting into the weeds, I know the region supports. Is there also financial support from the area municipalities to the Immigration Partnership? I just want to make sure, looking at all of the partners here and all of that, that, you know, that those avenues are also, it's a collective here.
Through the chair, there has not been an investment by the area municipalities until now. Most of the funding for the work of the Immigration Partnership does come through the federal government. There is a regional contribution which is made every year of $50,000, and the remainder of our funding comes from United Way Waterloo Region communities.
Just if I ask, am I correct that we provide office space at 99 Regina, the region?
Yes, our team is housed within regional office spaces.
Yep.
And supported by colleagues across the region with all of the backbone support.
Thank you. Councillor Verbenek.
Thanks very much to all three of you for coming in, for the great work that you've been doing, and Tracy for your work as past chair, and Ernest as your work as current chair, and in light of the fact that Saturday was the Ride for Dad, and that's the area that you work in at Grand River Cancer Care. I need to give you a shout out and say thank you for all the work that you do in regards to men's health as well. This report excites me. I mean, partially because I'm an immigrant myself, as I think many of you know. And in fact, on our council, 3 out of the 11 members are people that weren't born in Canada, and that's actually reflective of what we know the stat is in Kitchener, where about 30% of the population is in fact an immigrant. And there's no question that when we think about our community, immigrants have played such an important role, whether they were recent or whether they've been here for 4, 5, 6 generations in the past. If we think about, obviously funding is a challenge, and you've talked a little bit about that, but as you've talked to some of the partner organizations in the community, and we have, the many grassroots ones, there's been a number of new ones that have started up in the last few years. I think, particularly from areas where there's immigration happening, or some of the long-standing ones. What are the big pressure points you're hearing from them in the work that you're doing?
Through the chair, we do a lot of work to engage with grassroots organizations across the community, particularly through the Belong Steering Group of our work. Ernest mentioned 3 pillars that we have: Settle, Work, Belong. They each have their own committees leading that work. And every year we try to bring the cultural groups together through an event called Multicultural Connections, where we're platforming them. Giving them space to talk about what's going on in their communities, the work that they're doing as organizations, what their needs are, and to help kind of mainstream service organizations learn more about them and make their own connections there to support their work. We certainly hear, kind of growth-related challenges from them, as in there's more people in their communities that they're trying to support, and those people who are coming in are having, the challenges that are inherent in immigration of getting settled and access to services, finding services that are culturally appropriate, linguistically appropriate. Some of the things that we've been trying to work on as a regional community through the Immigration Partnership for many years. We hear from them about the challenges of being heard, and so part of our work is trying to create those platforms for them to have space to have more voice in community conversations and in decision-making that is happening, and often around resources and their ability to access the resources that they need for the types of programming that they want to run in their communities, which varies widely depending on their focus. So those are kind of the 3 main buckets that I would say of what we hear when we're connecting with them.
Great, thank you. And I just want to also just say thanks. I know you regularly connect with staff at the city and in community services and other areas, and so just wanted to say thank you for that. I know it's very much appreciated, and we continue to look for ways to continue to support the work that both the partnership is doing, as well as some of the work that we've embarked on, including our new municipal newcomer strategy, which we just started this year. Thanks.
Councillor Foxton.
Through you, thank you, Chair. I've had an interesting life, and I at one point used to read a lot of stats. And in 2008, when North America went through the recession and everything else, Canada survived it, and a lot of people thought it was just our banking system. But if you looked at the statistics in Ontario, 400,000 people retired that year, and 100,000 went into the workforce. When I worked in special education, stats came out. We hit 0 population growth within our country. Immigration, and we've been in the negative ever since. Immigration sustains our country. This country would shut down without immigration, because we are not populating enough to even equal ourselves. We aren't even at 0 anymore. And this new generation, this younger generation, is afraid to have children because the economy is so bad. We rely on immigration, and I'm getting at, I want you to come and talk to each of the municipalities, the 7 of us. I want you to pitch. We all do grants every year, and they're for a variety of reasons. And I can't guarantee you'll get grants, but let's get out there and make your voice heard across the region, community by community. I don't think people really understand how important immigration is to our country, to the strength of our country. And we have to get that word out. We have to do our job, because otherwise our country fails. Thank you. Come to my council.
Talk about wanting to get more funding. There's your first offer. There are no other questions. There is a motion here, so I'm looking for a mover, and it's moved by Councillor Fox and second. Yeah, you're not appearing here on my screen, but sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to go back to something you said. You said that the municipalities are not contributing to this?
Not directly yet to the work of the Immigration Partnership, no.
Because I've got 3 of my staff working with you, and their time is considered to us.
Yes.
So we are contributing in some way then.
Yes, not a direct financial contribution, but yes, all of the area municipalities
but
do
the
have
paid-
staff who are amongst the many contributing with their time and expertise.
Okay,
Yes.
but their time is paid for by us. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Foxton was prepared to move it. Councillor James was prepared to second it. If there are no other questions, I would invite you to use your e-scribe buttons to indicate your support. And that's carried unanimously. Thanks for attending. Oh, okay, Councillor Liggett, you're, sorry, you weren't showing up here. You're in favor? Yeah, okay, now it's carried unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8.1, Council Committee Tracking List. There are currently no requests. Number 9, is there any other business? Being none, our next committee meeting is August the 12th, 2025. Motion to go into all councils. Yeah, for Friday. Oh, okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to go into an all councils meeting on Friday, moved by Councillor Wolf, seconded by Councillor Hunick. Use your e-scribe buttons to indicate your support. And the motion is that the Regional Municipality of Waterloo authorize participating in an all-councils meeting on June the 13th, 25, 2:30 p.m. to be held at 150 Frederick Street, Kitchener in the council chambers.
Does that meeting start now?
Friday at 1.
Okay. Yes.
Councillor Liggett. You're in favor? Yeah. Okay, thank you. I now entertain a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Foxton, seconded by Councillor Hunick. Use your e-scribe buttons to indicate your support. Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.